this week I was thinking about different stuff, and I was like, one thing I wanted to mention was that I think I can articulate the difference between this new theology I've developed and the traditional view. And I can just put it like this. The traditional view says that God created a perfect, immortal, sinless creation. But then a supernatural, an evil supernatural influence caused the creation to be tipped into corruption. And so they have Lucifer somehow involved in this. And there's some logic going on here. It's a perfect creation. Something intervened and caused a fall, and it wasn't God, so it must have been these fallen angels we know about. They were involved here. So supernatural evil getting involved in causing the creation to fall. And the way I look at it now is just different. I see it as God created from the Big Bang forward a cosmos in Adam where creating took place over eons, and God was educating his angels, the divine council. But at some point, the creation actually tempted down and caused the fall of the angels. And that's why the fall of the angels is in Genesis 6. And I always knew that. All the years that I was reading the Bible and stuff, I knew that the fall of the angels is right there in Genesis 6. You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
People struggle to find the fall of the angels, and it's right there in Genesis 6.
Well, naturally, I think tradition teaches us that they would assume, as you had noted, that Satan, Lucifer, was present in the garden as the serpent who tempted Eve. So, through that way of thinking, naturally they would think that the fall of the angels, or at least the fall of Lucifer and some angels, occurred before creation, I presume, or before Genesis 3, and
Yeah.
never really has told us, and because of that tradition, we've never thought otherwise, that maybe the serpent was just a literal serpent, and the actual fall of Lucifer and the angels occurred in Genesis 6.
Yeah. People have struggled to explain the origin of evil, and thinking that the fallen angels were involved in corrupting the creation. They've taken it back a step, and they've taken it a step into an area of doctrine that's only vaguely revealed in Scripture, you know. And they've just left themselves with questions they can't answer, like when did Lucifer fall? And they don't know. And I don't like when your theology leads to just dead ends like that, you know. But as far as the origin of evil, it's in Adam. Adam's fall is the origin of all evil. And just because some of us can't understand from the Big Bang forward, they just need to try a little harder, because it all makes perfect sense. And the origin of evil's in Adam. And it even caused the angels to fall. And that's one fall, Genesis 6. There's another we'll get into with the gods of the nations failing in their duties and stuff.
And that's referring to Psalm 82, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. It's
So, what were you going to say?
I just was going to kind of build off of what you said, and with the oh crap, what was I going to say? Oh, it's funny how I think tradition even teaches us, kind of rightly, that sin began with Adam and thus death. Um, and of course, they look at it as it going forward from Adam. But then it kind of then you have to beg the question, like you said, where did this original evil kind of come from? It's like, well, it started with Adam, but then they still have to think it came from Satan or something, and they just can't
Yeah.
answer where the evil came from. Just like you said, whether it leads to a dead end, or as I would say, it leads to more questions that need answered, you're not going down the right track. It, again,
Yeah.
it makes perfect sense that sin entered the world through one man, and that's where it began. And that even led, like you said, the angels and Lucifer to fall as well. The imputation of his sin just transcended time and altered reality, and even back before Adam wasn't even around, but he still was. His imputation of sin was.
Yeah. And once you understand that, it helps make more sense of the Christian destiny to be the new divine council, because you see the council finally failing. And, failing, you and I have looked at these, what they were doing, they were just, they were erring, you know, they were just erring because they thought they were trying to do good, perhaps. And we'll have to make videos on that. When the sons of God came down, like the name Jared means, when they came down and did what they did in Genesis 6, and that happened in the time of Jared, um, they were they had an understanding that the second Adam needed to be a divine man. And so they tried to do that. But it wasn't acceptable to God, what they did. And when Jesus comes on the scene and says he's the only begotten Son of God, what that means is that he's not a Nephilim. Think about it. The virgin birth is he's the only begotten Son of God, and he's not a Nephilim.
Yeah, his the significance in his virgin birth, and clearly makes him unique and stand out amongst all the others.
Yeah.
He is the only one that could have ever done so. But like you said, I guess these angels thought they could, because at least they thought, well, we're divine in nature.
Yeah.
Maybe we could, or let's try to, I don't know, get God's appeal and try to restore Eden or something. That's probably what they thought. That's probably their motive.
Yeah. Yeah, but something that I've just picked up on in Genesis 6 is that the angels knew something, and that was motivating what they were trying to do. So they knew the second Adam needed to be a divine man. Now, later on, after Babel and after Sedek is the god of a certain region of the Jebusites, he knew that the second Adam needed to fulfill both roles of priest and king. He knew that. And that's why we find this manifestation of Melchizedek in chapter 14. Sedek was trying to do something good there. He knew something which was motivating him to do what he was doing. And is it good? Is it bad? I don't know. We don't know the details on what came of Sedek. I mean, I know that since he was the various angels that were allotted portions, regions, he received the most sacred one. But several of them received regions that, taken together, would be Israel. So when Joshua comes in with the armies and they're killing off any people that have the giants among them, Nephilim, they're killing those people off, but they're chasing out the domains of several of these regions. There's several gods there that are their primary enemies when they're going into Canaan, and those regions are the most sacred to God. And that's got to be where Eden was in the beginning. People have to put that together. We're the only ones talking about the Garden of Eden being in Jerusalem, on the internet.
Oh, yeah.
On YouTube. I mean, maybe there's a few others out there. I'm just a tiny little obscure channel, so if people search, they wouldn't even find mine, so